After picking up 4 points over the Easter weekend, the Stags are nearly safe in Sky Bet League One for another season, and with 7 games still to go, they're still well on course to beat last season's records. A 2-0 victory at Doncaster Rovers on Good Friday, followed by a boring 0-0 draw on Bank Holiday Monday against Burton, puts the Stags 7 points clear of the drop zone, with 21 points still up for grabs. Craig Mass says that the Stags could be mathematically safe on Saturday if they win and Exeter, Rotherham and Port Vale all lose, but we'll come on to that later in the show because, let's be honest, I'm probably wrong. On the bright side though, with 7 games still left to play for Mansfield Town, they're well on course to beat last season's record and make it a vast improvement. Which begs the question, how can we improve next season? More on that to come tonight. Come and have your say on your team on the show for the fans, by the fans. This is the Mansfield Matters Podcast. You know, since recording that intro, I've had my abacus out, I've had my toes out, I've had my fingers out, I've had my counting blocks out, and I've been trying to work out whether or not Craig Maths is actually right. And you know what? I think for once, Craig's maths is actually right. We'll come on to that later in the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mansfield Matters Podcast. It's the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. It's going to be a jam-packed show for you on this Thursday evening with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 panelists joining me tonight to talk all things Mansfield Town as we edge towards safety. And not 1, not 2, but 3 games as well for your entertainment. We are literally giving you absolutely everything. You can tell the end of the season is coming, can't you? More on that as the show goes on. As ever, if you want to have your say on your team, you can do so via the live feed comments. Just send a comment, anything Mansfield Town related, anything you want us to talk about, get it in the live feed comments. And if I see it and I think it's worth reading out, I'll read it out. If I see it and I think it's worth asking, I'll ask it. That's how it works. If you listen to the audio version of this and thinking, Craig, when can I get involved? Where can I send a comment? Well, you can send it to us on social media at MTFC Matters, or if you actually want me to read it and say it on the show, come and watch it live next Thursday, 7:30. Thursday, 7:30, all the way to the end of the season now. Right, that's enough of me jibber-jabbering. Let's introduce you to our fantastic 4 this evening. First and foremost, a man who has not only had a new microphone at One Course Stadium, he's had a new headset at home, and this week he shared a sausage with Nigel Clough. It's Alan Wilson. Good evening, Mr. Wilson.
Good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody.
Are those rumours true, or have I put 2 stories together and came up with 4?
You've put 2 stories together and come up with 5, actually.
Well, we'll talk about Nigel Clough and Alan's sausages later on in the show. Let's head over to Edwin Stowe and say hello, good evening, and welcome to a man who has not shared a sausage with Nigel Clough. It's Clive Parkin. Evening, Clive, unless you're going to tell me otherwise.
No, good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody. But let me put it very clearly in front and centre. If Nigel wants to share a sausage with me, I'm willing and able.
A man who technically has shared a sausage with him, but let's not talk about why. It's Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame. Good evening, Nick.
How are we doing? How are we doing? You okay? I did see him in the toilet though, didn't I? If you remember.
That is what I was going with, but I didn't want to reference it.
Yeah. No. There were no sausages though.
Well. Anyway. Let's move swiftly on, shall we, and say hello, good evening, and welcome to our 4th panellist member tonight to bring us all in check and keep us on the straight and narrow. All burst into a fit of laughter when we start talking about Alan's bin and various other things later in the show. We don't know which way it's going to go. My money's on the latter. It's Emily of Her Game 2 fame. Evening.
Evening, Craig. Evening, everybody.
And since you've last been on the show, I'm going to play a quick game here. This is a game right off the cuff, no jingle. It is what's changed in Emily's setup. I'm going to put you on screen. Alan, what's changed in Emily's setup? Go.
I think it's something just above her head.
Nick, what's changed in Emily's setup? Go.
Was Dickov there last time? I don't probably. It's probably the staggy thing, isn't it?
Clive, what's changed in Emily's setup? Go.
I think she's taking down the signed shirt of Richard Narty.
Emily, please reveal the answer to. Hang on, I'll do you a live jingle. Why not? Let's give you a live jingle. Please reveal the answer to.
What's changed in Emily's setup?
Emily's setup.
Oh my god! Yeah, the stag is new, but also the picture of the dogs up to this side, that's also new as well.
So 1 point each to Clive, Nick, and Alan, and there'll be another game of what's changed later on in the show. First, though, let's go right into all things Mansfield Town related. Before we do, actually, I nearly forgot when I was doing the intros because we went down a whole sausage rabbit hole. I was going to say when I introduced Nick tonight, Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame, who has recently added a new shirt to his collection.
Oh.
I have. It's over there. I probably should get it out later. I'll get it out later. How about that? Keep people listening.
The shirt.
Yes. Sorry, not sausages. The shirt.
Thank you.
You can only see the top half. So it doesn't matter, does it? You can only see the top half, so it doesn't matter.
We'll talk more about
now, but it's not. It's not. It's not.
We'll talk more. I'm so sorry, Emily. I've invited you on this podcast because I thought Alan wasn't going to be available this week. And I thought, I'll always like to have three voices on. Then Alan was available. And I wasn't going to say no because you're always a fantastic guest when you come on. But you've been subjected to this. We're 7 minutes and you've been subjected to this already. I'm so sorry.
Well, at least it makes me laugh anyway.
Talking of things that make you laugh, let's talk about Mansfield Town, shall we, in the Easter weekend. 4 points from the Easter weekend, Clive. A boring first half against Doncaster. 2 goals in, 2 goals though in the second half, and then a boring 0-0 draw against Burton as well. But before both games were played, you'd have said 4 points would be a great return.
I did. I forecast both results spot on.
You did.
Unfortunately, one of my selected heroes didn't get selected on the other night, so it's going to make me angry. But I think both games can summed up very simply. That the Doncaster game, nothing happened in the first half, and we converted the 2 chances we got in the second half. And then on the more recent game, nothing happened full stop. But we defined our season in many ways. Resolute at the back, under-equipped in the centre of the field, outpassed in this occasion, and toothless up front.
It was one of those games on Friday at Doncaster, which when you're watching it from the stands, Emily, you think, oh my God, this is so frustrating. Why isn't this coming off? Why isn't that happening? And then you watch it back from a different angle. You listen to some of the post-match and some of the conditions were ridiculous. And actually trying to play football in that was really difficult for both teams. So to come away with a 2-0 win actually is a bit of a bonus in the end.
I was absolutely made up with that result. Really, I really did. I didn't think we were going to win that. I was absolutely chuffed with that because they've been on form, haven't they, Doncaster? So I was worried about it, and then enjoyed the Monday's bore fest. Although I don't think it was that boring. I think if you were neutral, you'd probably enjoy it quite a lot.
It was a bit of a frustrating one on Monday, almost like Mundane Monday. We should nickname it, Nick, because it was just very frustrating to watch, and we just weren't at the races. And I think had Burton have scored, we wouldn't have come away with anything. I don't think we'd have got back in the game.
No, I don't think we would. But I think in the second half, they stooped to our level, didn't they? They were first half. I thought they were pretty decent. Then second half, they just started playing like us, if not worse. I thought we were the better side in the second half, but. Yeah, there was. I think it was a lot more acceptable because we'd won on Friday, and I think people thought, well, if it's a boring 0-0, it's a point, it's 4 points. Had we have lost on Friday, might have been a different atmosphere. But I think we're all happy in the end to just go, well, it's a clean sheet and a point. It's better than 4 points is better than I predicted. I know Clive, the Oracle, got them right, but I didn't expect 4 points. So historically, Easter's been horrific for Mansfield, hasn't it? So I think we'll take that.
Yeah, we were due a good Easter, Alan, and to be fair, we've had one. I think what we've not referenced there is actually the fact that we've kept 2 clean sheets.
I know we did rather well, and also got a fantastic goal with John Russell. One at best that you could wish to see with a bad ground as it was. And also on Monday's game, I think second half, the reason why they didn't overrun us was George Abbott got nearer Webster. I don't know whether he had a word at half time and said, can you man mark him, whatever, but he seemed to be more in the game, Abbott did, as regards Webster, and I think they nullified each other.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise move, that, Clive, because obviously Lewis Reed went off at half-time as well. He didn't have the greatest of games, and it was probably one of those performances, wasn't it, where you look at the starting 11 and you think, if this player, and this player has a semi-decent game, we'll be all right here. But the players that you usually turn to have a good game didn't have a good game, and that was probably highlighted in the substitution of Lewis Reed at half-time.
Yes, a player we've come to rely on. I suppose it was bound to happen at some point. He was going to let us down. He let himself down. He had a poor game. He may well have been carrying some form of knock or a bit under the weather or maybe post-baby blues. I don't know. But either way, it's one of his worst games, I think. And it was right to take him off. But we are a bit thin in terms of resource when he's not on the field, in that section of the field anyway. So I was pleased to see that Abbott stepped up a bit, because that lad's got plenty of talent. There's no question about that. And if he could slot properly and become integral to the players around him, he could be our future if we can keep him.
George Abbott, Emily, has become one of those players that has come in sort of in January, gone very much under the radar. We said on this podcast, a few weeks ago that it was a bit of a waste of a loan, but that wasn't a reflection of the player. That was more of a reflection of Tottenham dictating how long he can play. Because I think at the time when we were saying it, he was being restricted to 15, 20 minutes, 45, I think was the max he'd had at that point. But now he's getting regular game time. He does look a quality acquisition, and he's almost made us forget about that other fella that we had on loan from Forest.
Yeah, he's filling a gap, isn't he? He is filling a huge gap that is in that midfield, and he's a great player. I really like him. But what are the chances, do you think, of us keeping him? We'd have to buy him, wouldn't we? Any of that money left over from Arsenal?
Well, I've just bought my season ticket, so he should be we're quids in at the moment.
Do you know what? I can always rely on Clive to remind me of things that we need to talk about on the podcast. I'd written a whole list of talking topics for tonight, and that was one topic that I'd actually forgotten. So we'll come on to that in just a minute. Let's stay with George Abbott, though, for a minute. Nick, what have you made of his progression? Because like we've sort of referenced, he was, a very bit of a handful defensively on Monday, and we needed him to be with Lewis Reed sort of benched, if you like.
Yeah, he definitely stepped up. I think the interesting thing is it's maybe taught Mansfield a bit of a lesson not to rush players back. Because how many times we've brought players back from injury and gave them half an hour and then all of a sudden 90, whereas I think he's really benefited from having 20, 40, 45, 60, 75, then 90 or whatever we gave him. And yeah, he looks quality. I think Notts County fans really raved about him last year. I'd like to see him maybe playing a little bit more advanced at times, but he did a role that we needed. Reed came off because, like Clive said, he was having a poor game. And I thought he bossed that midfield. I don't think they really got a sniff in the second half out of him. Thought Webster, one of their better players. I know he was a bit injured, but he came off. And I don't think anyone got any change out of Abbott. I mean, I think we could get him on loan again next year. He's not going to play for Spurs, is he? Let's be frank. Even if they got relegated, he's not going to play. So it'd be nice, I think. That they're going to want him League One, I would have thought, as a minimum. I can't see him getting a Championship loan, so why not try and loan him again? I don't know what his contract situation's like. I imagine he's probably under contract. But he's definitely, Iro, I'd drive Iro back to Tottenham, bless him. But Abbott, I'd definitely say we need to try and keep him.
Yeah, I totally agree on Iro. I've nicknamed him TikTok now because, I think he's more skilled to filming in TikToks for his missus. He came in with bags of quality, and I'm sure that there is a quality player in there somewhere. But I think the thing is, when you have a debut like he had, the expectation is so much higher, and then you just can't match it up, and it becomes a little bit frustrating. And yeah, it's I felt for a little bit on Monday that he was going to sort of come good again.
Yeah.
He had a bit of an early chance, didn't he, with a lovely run down the right hand side, and then there were just two or three moments where you're thinking, clip that up on TikTok.
Because he showed his strength as well, because the bloke who we were up against, when he was running against him, their defender, he was pulling and pushing him like one-o. But he withstood it all, and it was just a shame that he didn't really carry it on after that, because he had a good 10-minute start, I thought.
Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. We'll come to a question from Jordan in just a minute, but let's stick with Monday, Emily, because there was a an unfamiliar-ish face in the starting lineup, and that was Harry Lewis. Of course, the goalkeeper, Liam Roberts, unavailable. I think he picked up a bit of an injury at Doncaster. Second appearance for the Stags, second clean sheet, although at times I think we were all watching from behind our hands, weren't we?
Yeah, it's a little bit shaky, wasn't it? But, you know, I don't think we can write him off just yet. I think I was happy with what he was doing. It was okay. But I think when you're behind that back line that we've got, I think you're fairly safe most of the time. But I did think there was a point where Burton hit the post, and I just thought, you know, if that hadn't hit the post, it definitely would have gone in. He wasn't going to get anywhere near it. But he seems to be okay. I'm quite happy with him. Rowan's happy with him. You know, when Rowan's happy with a player, you can safely say he's usually right about these things. And he's like, he'll come good, Mum. He'll come good. He told me that Owen Mason was gonna save all those penalties, and he did. So,
well, there you go. Can you ask him for 6 numbers between 1 and I think 49? 59 is it?
Yeah.
59. Cheers, Al. You knew I were going with it. Clive, it is difficult for goalkeepers, especially second choice keepers, to come in, and especially when you've got somebody with the quality of Liam Roberts. The second choice is there's always going to be a contrasting vision there between the two, isn't there? Because Liam Roberts, you know, a little bit like Iro's debut, sets the bar ridiculously high.
Yeah, I think there is obviously a clear difference in class between the two players, but they're different sorts of players. I think that Roberts is much more commanding, better in the air, and high crosses and things he's competent with. His distribution can be awful. On the other hand, Harry's distribution seemed to be so much better. He could throw out accurately. He was tending to keep the ball on the pitch in a way that Roberts struggled at times. But if you've got to choose between the two, it's going to be Roberts, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is. But I think what's really important, Nick, is you've got to have a keeper that is a competent second choice. We had it for years. You know, Nigel Clough sets his stall out, doesn't he? He says, if you're my number one, you're my number one regardless. Sometimes it pays off. Other times it doesn't. I'm thinking particularly last season with Christy Pym starting to wane a little bit. But we always knew when Christy Pym wasn't available, Scott Flinders would come in and have a fantastic game. We've seen it a little bit with Owen Mason. We had to get him out and get him some football. I believe he's playing fairly regularly at Southend, although I've not checked the lineups in recent weeks. But when it comes to that second choice keeper, you've got to have someone that's sharp and available. And like Tom says in the comments, it's only his second game of the season. He looked like he'd not played much, but he is a good keeper. That's the problem. You know, you can only play one goalkeeper at a time. So that second choice keeper, especially when you are a side that has an established number one, has got to keep themselves sharp and ready to come in at a moment's notice.
Yeah, that's half the battle, isn't it, with them? I'd like to see one thing I'd like Clough to do a little bit more if we are going to have a dedicated number two is play them a bit more in cup games. I know Mason got the odd FA Cup game, but there was Carabao games that potentially could have played. So I think if we are going to have that dedicated number two, he probably needs to play more of the cup ties early on in the season to get a bit of confidence. But, you know, you might be relied on once a season as a backup goalkeeper. That's the hard thing, isn't it? Is Lewis come in thinking he's got a shot at number one? I don't personally think he has while Roberts is here, but he did okay. Like Clive said, he's a different type of goalkeeper, I think, to Roberts. But it's his first game. You're always going to be a bit nervous, especially in goal. I think outfield players have got a lot more grace, haven't they? You make a mistake in goal and you're very conscious of it. But he did okay. He kept a clean sheet. You can't ask for more than that, I suppose. Like Emily was saying about he wouldn't have done anything if that hadn't hit the post. But yeah, a clean sheet on debut or not debut, but one of your second game, you can't complain with that.
No, you can't. It's going to be a bit of an interesting one actually this Saturday. I was going to mention it later in the show, but it seems we've started talking about goalkeepers a little bit, Emily. We finally, on Saturday, there's a strong realistic chance that we could see JB1 Saturday. Of course, Liam Roberts potentially still struggling with a bit of an injury. And I believe Harry Lewis's partner is overdue. So who knows? A bit of mistiming. And JB1 could be the man.
Yeah. You never know, do you? And if he's not fully fit to do 90 minutes elsewhere on the pitch, then he can do it in the goal, can't he?
It would be absolutely typical, though, Alan, wouldn't it? Byrie finally gets a game in goal because of things falling into place elsewhere. and we won't be there to see it. 'Cause fair few of us aren't going to Wigan. The one time it could happen, and we won't be there in the flesh.
Well, he'll probably have his gloves packed in his case, with the rest of his stuff. So you just never know.
I'll take you a picture, Craig. Don't worry. I'll get you a picture.
I've had it on good authority, Nick, that he's been training with the goalkeepers this week. I don't want to start rumours, but I've had it on good authority. Him and Adam Collin have been hanging around in Costa, and
that's why he
things.
didn't start on Monday. He wanted him to watch Harry Lewis just to see learn the ropes. He didn't want him on the pitch because he wouldn't be able to see it, would he? So he's like, you're not playing because you need to be.
Yeah, it's research and development, isn't it? Research and development.
Yes.
Who knows what might happen on that one? Let's round off from the games then, and then we'll come to the question in the comments. Then we'll rattle on through some more topics now. As ever, if you want to have your say on your team in the live feed, you can do so in the comments. Clive, let's start with you then. 4 points from a possible 6 over Easter. It's put us just a point behind where we were last season. Not mathematically safe yet, but I think the Easter weekend results have given us a giant leap forward, not just a baby step.
Yeah, I think it would take an incredible piece of bad luck for us not to be safe, given that the team we've got to do better than is Exeter, and they've got two fewer games than we have, and they've got to play down the road at Plymouth, and their fixtures look awful, and their form's not good. But then there's 7 other teams between us and them. It would be awful if we found ourselves drawn back into that. But things happen in football, don't they?
Certainly do. We'll come on to that, the permutations and everything in a little while. Alan, round off the last 4 games for us then from your point of view. Great return, 2 good goals, 2 clean sheets. You can't ask for more, can you? No.
Well, when we finished on last Wednesday, was it, that we did the podcast last week, I said that 4 points, would be more than a bonus. So you can't really, ask for anything else. We got a decent goal out of it. 2 good half performances on both matches. So let's hope for better on Saturday, because somewhere along the line it's going to come good for full 90 minutes.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's a good thing that we're rotating players, and even though we've got games coming thick and fast, we are still at the point where we're bringing in players with quality, and we also have players coming back as well. So good, we've not really referenced it, but so good to see Tyler Roberts get a little bit of a run out as well on Monday.
Yeah, I think this is probably the other than maybe Keeler done the promotion season, the biggest golfing class we've ever had between our best players and the rest of the team. I think that's probably a byproduct of us being in League One for a second season. But the likes of Roberts as a perfect example, of McDonnell, who we've had, and maybe even Roberts in goal, they're so much better than the rest of the players. I think it's really noticeable now that the likes of the players who have been here a number of years are, in my opinion, now miles behind the likes of Tyler Roberts. The thing is, if he was fit, he wouldn't be playing for Mansfield. I think we all know that. But he stands out like a sore thumb, doesn't he? When he comes on, he was so miles better than any of the players on the pitch that we had at the time. So if we can keep players like him fit, then who knows what we can achieve with players like that. But I think one of the comments, and we'll probably get to it, about players who we don't particularly want and we might not retain. I think there's quite a few that potentially don't now make the grade. When you see the likes of Roberts and you see how good he is, and you realise that's the sort of standard we need. That puts probably 50% of our players as at risk, because they're not in his league. They really aren't.
Yeah, let's come on to that very briefly. We're not going to delve too far into it, Jordan. Thank you for your question this evening. The reason for that is because once we are mathematically safe, we'll start looking more ahead to next season. But seeing as you've asked, we'll do a quick skim round the 4. So we'll go Alan, Clive, Emily, and then Nick to round off on the question, one after the other. And the question is, where should we strengthen in the summer? So where do you think we should strengthen in the summer?
The three spine: central defence, central midfield, and a striker. For me,
Clive.
We need a striker, and to support a striker, we need a natural 10 who plays in front of the midfield. I think everything else is all right.
Emily.
Yeah, I'm not in agreement with that. I'd love to see. I think we've got a big gap in midfield and like in a potentially a 10 position. and I'd love to see that fulfilled, but I just don't think we will. But I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Nick?
If we keep Abbott and Roberts, then I think that would go some way to strengthen the central midfield. So I'm going to say striker and right back, because I don't think Hewitt or Akins are good enough to be here next season. So therefore that just leaves Noyle. He's also been playing centre back, so I'd like to see a proper out and out right wing back as well as Noyle and a striker.
Yeah, I can't give an answer without sort of going into more detail. So I'm going to save it for when we do talk about it properly and move on to talk about season tickets. But Jordan, thank you for your question. As always, if you've got any questions or anything you want to talk about Stags related, get it in the live feed comments and have your say on your team, because this is the place to do exactly that. The number one Mansfield Town podcast on the market, because it is the only one. So technically I am correct. Do not sue me. Right, let's talk season tickets then, because in the last week or so we've had the news that Mansfield Town Football Club has confirmed its pricing and renewal timeline for the 2026-27 season tickets. The club will again be using Kaizen tickets to facilitate online season ticket purchases. The online system has simplified the ticket purchasing process for supporters and allows season tickets to be held virtually as an e-ticket, which will be presented as the default option for purchase throughout the window or in Apple Wallet. Moreover, the club also accepts Apple and Google Pay when purchasing season tickets online. The club strongly encourages supporters to download and save season tickets to their smartphone to enhance the flow of entry into One Call Stadium on match days. Side note from that, I've done that for the first time this season, moved away from the card. I held on to the card for a while because I liked having something physical to sort of represent the season that had just gone. But it is a lot swifter having it on your phone. I've not had an issue at all with that. So, and of course, my phone's always on me, so I don't forget it. Unlike some people that I can reference on Monday. Did you have to pay the fee in the end, Clive, or not?
No, people
Not with his
recognise
face.
People recognise I'm an old dodderer, and therefore I'm going to make these mistakes. And I just got to give them that sort of woeful pensioner eye, and then they say, "Oh, come on, old fella, we'll sort you out."
I think they have one pre-printed every week for him. I think they have one pre-printed by the window with his name on, just in case they go, "Oh, he's coming back." Like, yeah,
bloody hell!
Give him the ticket.
I couldn't even get myself. I couldn't get myself a cup of tea or a sausage roll either because I hadn't got my phone with me.
Oh, poor Clive! Oh, shocking.
You should have come up and see me, Clive.
Why do you have sausage rolls?
No, Brad. I could have helped you pay.
Oh no, I would never. I'd never throw myself on your mercy like that.
Well,
it's punishment for being so stupid.
No comment. There will be a charge next season though, so try not to do it again. I think Emily's disappeared, so hopefully she'll log back out.
I've got to reset my headphones as always, because now she's gone. I can't hear Clive, which is weird. I can hear Alan. I can hear you. Can't hear Clive.
I know. Shocking. You do that whilst I continue reading this out. So there you go. Our 2026-27 season ticket pricing reflects a commitment to responsible and sustainable financial management while ensuring we keep football as accessible as possible for our supporters. Due to sustained inflammatory increases impacting operational costs around the club, we've made the decision to implement a modest increase in season ticket prices for the upcoming season. This adjustment allows us to continue meeting rising expenses whilst maintaining investment in the team and matchday experience. We have worked hard to keep the increase as low as possible and remain committed to providing value for our supporters. Under 7 season tickets will be free of charge. Supporters should also note that a cap of 6,500 season tickets has been set. In 2026-27, season ticket holders will again have the opportunity to resell their ticket seats if they're unable to attend a home league game. Blah, 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 blah. Matchday ticket prices for 2026-27 are as follows. 30 quid for an adult, £26 for a senior citizen, and so on and so on. It's all on the website. This is the interesting bit, though, because when our season tickets on sale, well, existing season ticket holders can reserve their existing seat throughout the early bird window online and at the ticket office from 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the 7th of April, until 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 7th of May. So you can get your season ticket now. Early bird season tickets will also become available online on the same dates as well. And then existing season ticket seats that remain unpurchased after that date will be released from holders to go on general sale, which will begin on Friday, the 8th of May. All the information of how you can renew your ticket and everything is on the website. I'm not going to read it all because we'll be here all day. But this is the important thing. Let's have a look at the prices, shall we? Early bird price, if you want to go in the Ian Greaves upper and lower, £465 for an adult, £385 for a senior citizen, 265 for under 21s, 165 for under 18s. Under 14s with a paying adult, £85. Under 7s and carers are free. Quarry Lane End, 380 for an adult, 315 senior citizens. Under 21s, 215. Under 18s, 135. 104. Under 14s at 75. And then in the Jordan Bowery Bishop Street stand, unofficial name, but it should be called that. Adults are 380. Senior citizens, 315, 215 for under 21s, 135 for under 18s, and £75 for an under 14s. There's a lot to dissect in that statement, Clive, but first and foremost, your reaction to the prices and the modest increase. It's not gone down that well.
Price increases never go down well. And I personally thought that the price increase was about spot on. It was modest. They couldn't. I can see they wouldn't be able to put the day ticket of £30 up because that is the highest in the league at the moment. And as a season ticket holder, and as we sell out nearly all the season tickets, it's the only way they can go with it. Really, can't put any more seats in the ground at the moment, so they've got to try and keep in pace with inflation. And I think the reality is it's a business, and we have to support that business not only as fans but as customers.
It is. I think the more frustrating thing for me, and I'm going to admit I've not read the statement on direct debit schemes as yet, but as I understand it, those who are paying the early bird price can't, or at least when they first went on sale, couldn't get the direct debit scheme, which just means, Emily, that it's a little bit of a hard thing to swallow when you've got to shell out that much money. Some people might have it, and that's absolutely fine. Others won't. I'll be completely transparent and honest. For me, it'll be a credit card purchase, and I'll spend the next 9 months paying that off, and my dad will give me the contribution towards his and everything, and it's fine, and I never would not pay it. But I think any higher than the increase of cost that has been put on this season, and I think I would have been questioning where I sit, because I sit in the Ian Greaves stands. It's the highest price, naturally, because it's the biggest view, but never have I sat there and thought, I'm not quite sure if I can actually swallow this. And I'm thinking, I've got someone that sits next to me, mum, dad, so 2 adults tickets, and then I think they've got an under 18 and an under 14. That's a lot of cost all in one if you want to get all 4. What's your thoughts on all of that?
Well, for me, it's just gone up quite a lot because Rowan's going to be 15, so he's not.
You can't blame the club for that.
No, I know that, but it's gone up quite a lot for me. It's doubled for him, not for me, but it's doubled for him. But we already sit in Quarry Lane, and he really wants to go into Ian Greaves. Like, Rowan is desperate to go and sit in there. He wants to go and sing, and he wants to go and shout, and that's why he loves his away games so much, because he gets to do that. So because the atmosphere in Quarry Lane can be a bit quiet, and it frustrates the life out of him sometimes. But I just can't justify the extra money to go over into Ian Greaves. So that's the other way around, is that I'm like, well, I'm already spending over £500. I have sold a few of my season tickets this year. So I have got a healthy little account in there, about 30-40 quid, that's going to be taken off my price. So that's been good. I did feel that was good and useful, because when you've got a season ticket, obviously the games are so much cheaper than they would be if you were buying them per game. But it's nice to get something back, even if it is just, a little bit. It's nice to get something back and then be able to use that towards your next season ticket, because that for me has swallowed the increase in my ticket. So. How
do you feel about the direct debit scheme not being available to early birds? Because for me, I think that even if we had to maybe pay half of the cost up front and then direct debit the rest, that would have eased the financial burden a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it would help. There's a lot of people out there who aren't going to have that money up front. And it's like you say, put it on a credit card. You'd rather put it on a direct debit, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
No, because at least then it's gonna go out of your account every month. You know about it. You can budget for it. Whereas a credit card, you could put it on a credit card and not pay it off.
It's a dangerous game. I mean, I think like years and years ago, I think when I first got a season ticket, I wasn't really smart enough financially to understand how credit cards worked, and also with the credit history that I had, I was very limited in terms of what credit cards I could get. So I was paying a percentage on top of the season ticket price as well. Fortunately, this time around, I've done my research and managed to get a 0% purchase card, as long as I pay it back within a certain amount of time, which I can do because I've budgeted for it and things like that. But it can be a little bit of a thing. So I understand why there are some frustrations for it. Nick, like Clive says, though, there is going to be an increase every single year. We can't add any more seats, which means that we've got to try and do our best ticket price wise. But surely on the flip side of that, if they're saying in this statement that they want to improve things, like match day atmosphere, and things around that to make the supporter experience as good as possible, they're going to have to implement some new things, because if you were to rate it out of 10 at the minute, I'd say the supporter atmosphere at a home game and the supporter experience at a home game is probably a 6.577 max.
I don't think the supporter experience at home has changed much in the last 30 years. In reality, I go to my seat, I sit down. It's no different. I sit at a different end to what I used to do when I was a kid. But I think the one thing, and it's the same with my bloody council tax. If you pay money, I just want to see what you're doing with it. Just tell me what you're doing with it. I don't care what you're doing with it. I don't care if you've installed another bin in a park. I don't care. Just let me know what you're doing with it. So if they say, look, it's gone up by, thank you, season ticket, you've contributed this amount of money to the club. This is how even if they said 80% of it goes in the playing budget, 20%'s gone on staff wages, and 10%'s gone on improving the pitch. Something like that would make people go, well, you know what? I've spent an extra 50, 60 quid, but I know what I've spent it on. At the minute, it could be in the Radford's pockets. It could be paying for Sid's latest Bentley. I don't know what it might. I don't know what it goes on. No one knows, do they? Because but if they tell you what it's gone on, I think everybody else will go, well, you know what? I've paid a bit extra, but I know what I've got. Because at the minute, when you're shelling out extra money, you don't really know what it's for. You could say inflation, but I think it'd be nice to know, wouldn't it? And maybe the fan advisory board, which I don't know if that's a topic you'll touch on, or whether you spoke about it last week. You may have done. Then maybe that will give us some greater transparency, depending on the reprobates they end up on that panel.
Me and Clive, we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Yeah. Give us a list of what you spent it on. I think that would go a long way to making people feel a little bit more comfortable shelling out extra money.
Now, two things. Firstly, if we walk in the new game of the season and Alan sends us a message in the Mansfield Matters group and goes, oh my God, guys, I've got a whole new brand spanking, new sparkling PA system. Not quite sure how it works, but I'm going to give it a go. I'd be happy with the increase.
If they put a ceiling up, if they give him a ceiling, I'd pay unlimited
a new
amount.
Stool.
They said it's going to go on Alan's ceiling.
Just clean his window or something like that. I don't know. Just something like that. I'd be happy with that.
I think you should pick. I think they should let you pick from a list of options of upgrades. What your season ticket goes towards. You can just click and Alan Wilson's stool. Click.
Yeah,
I'd pay extra for that.
Maybe this is what the fan advisory board should do. Alan, though, on the other hand, I know, hand on heart, if you weren't doing the PA anymore, you'd obviously be gutted, but you would buy a season ticket. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. And I know if they said to you, whatever, I know you would do that. You are in a fortunate position, as you know, to be PA announcer and getting free to all the home games. But how do you feel about the season ticket prices in general, and what do you think of the comments that have been made so far? Because I think Nick's hit the nail on the head. Transparency is key.
Yeah, I can see Nick's point, and I can also see Clive's point. I mean, at the end of the day, the people, it's same as in any walk of life. If you can't afford the petrol, you don't go out so much in your car, do you? It's that sort of thing, it swings and roundabouts. If people can afford it, they will do. And if they can't afford it, they'll probably have to, maybe just cut a couple of games out where the proper people that, can do the best to go to the matches, I'm sure they'll find a way of doing it. But like Nick said, I can understand what Clive says, and I can understand very much what Nick says, and it probably will come out, or you will be able to see later on, next season, that, some things have changed.
I just feel that I think this is probably where the fan advisory board will come into its own a little bit more, Clive, that we'll utilising that fan advisory board next season when it comes to renewing ticket prices, be that match day or season ticket, that will maybe bridge the gap and maybe open up these conversations a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the best you can expect from a fan advisory board is better liaison, better communication in both directions. At the moment, there are times you bemoan the lack of information, and Nick's just touched on something there. And there are times when the amount of information coming towards the club is so left or right of field that it has to be ignored. It needs somebody that can say, this is the fan's experience. Let me illustrate it to you. You are not typical. As an owner of the club, you're not a typical fan. You don't experience the toilets. You don't experience the catering kiosk. You don't experience the problems of parking. You don't experience the stewarding. You don't experience all these things. We have a shared investment in the club. Ours is an emotional investment. The owners have a financial investment and I think an emotional investment. And at the end of the day, if it was a pure business, they wouldn't have to tell anybody, any of their customers, why they set their prices the way they do. We expect more than that because we believe we have an emotional ownership of the club. And it's true to a point because we'll still be there after they've gone. There'll be somebody like us anyway, not me. I've not got that many miles left on the clock. But the reality is, you don't choose your football club, it chooses you. You don't wander, you stay with it. However abusive it is to you, one way or the other, however disappointment you have to put up with. In my case, I used to have a catch line on my social media channel on Stagsnet, which used to say, over 50 years of ruined weekends. Of course, I'd have to update that now. It's more like 55. But the reality is that's the price we pay for being fans. Not customers, fans. So the fan liaison board, who knows how effective that will be, if at all. But it's got to be worth a try.
The time is 14 minutes past 8. Breaking news from the Mansfield Matters news desk. The fan advisory board has moved to the next stage. Mansfield Matters podcast panellists Clive Parkin and Craig Priest have made it through to face the judges. In other news, season ticket prices have been on the rise, and these fans had this to say. Tracy Edwards said, "Maggie is better in the newsstand." Simon Wilson said, "As the club goes up the league, costs and prices will go up when we've maxed out the stadium." Steve Winnell
Where's he from?
"They put a light bulb in the Ian Griever for toilets. What more do you want?"
Well, they did it from Barnsley.
And Mark Yates says, "By gum, season ticket increases in line with the inflation generally. I paid £4.85 for a packet of custard cream today, 75% increase on 6 months ago."
This is horrible.
Still to come on the match.
Thanks, Dickie Bird, for the news.
Still to come on the Mansfield Matters podcast in the other headlines. Alan Wilson shares a sausage with Nigel Clough. Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame has a new shirt to present. And there are still 3 games to play, plus podcast predictions. All of that on the way on the Mansfield Matters podcast after an advertisement break. The time is 15 minutes past 8. I'm Craig Priest. Adverts. Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited, your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters podcast.
We're the Mansfield Matters crew, making podcasts just for you. Some show up, some disappear, but the Stags bring us all here. Through the ups and downs we stay, talking Mansfield Town every day.
I used to be a newsreader. You'd never know, would you? Simon in the comments says, I hope you have a good solicitor. I am technically engaged to one, although she's only good if I want to buy or sell a house. So can I just say that all the voices were not representative of the people who were making those comments in the comments. They were used for what is called as comic effect and creative license. And we shall move swiftly on. Right. Let's talk about nearly reaching safety then, shall we? Because on Saturday, Craig Maths, Nick, and we all know how Craig Maths can be, says that Mansfield, if results go their way, can actually be mathematically safe.
Yes, that's true. I think you got it right. I checked that as well. Yes, I know I think we need Exeter to lose, don't we? Obviously, they play Plymouth away. That's quite a tough game, isn't it? So I have a feeling that they won't beat Plymouth. And, we've got as good a chance of any as beating Wigan. So, yeah, I think we'll be safe. It would take a monumental change for it to happen, wouldn't it? And if we may as well all go home if that happens. But I don't think it will. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll get something on Saturday, and I think Exeter will lose too. Plymouth, Rotherham, Northampton and Vale, they're gone, aren't they? They're well and truly gone. But yeah, I think we'll be all right. I like the creative spelling on Exeter, though. I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, let's ignore that. Let's not pretend that I didn't.
Big fan of that.
Let's not pretend that I didn't make that. that graphic. You're going to literally regret that.
Exeter win at weekend.
That's the voice that was in my head as I was typing it.
Rotherham fans. That was a Rotherham fan I was doing there.
It was. I'm not even going to put that graphic back on screen now because you made me self-conscious. Thanks a lot, you. Where is it? Yeah. Technically, though, it's a good job I've got it written down here, isn't it? So yeah, I don't need to look at that. So there you go.
No.
Technically, and you know how much I love a technicality, Alan. I know Nick says, and he's right, that Rotherham, Northampton and Port Vale are gone. But mathematically, at the moment, they could still all catch us. Actually, Northampton can't. Rotherham and Port Vale still can. However, if results go our way, if we win and all three of those teams, Exeter, Rotherham and Port Vale, lose, none of them can catch us and we're safe. And realistically, this time next week, we should be safe. If we're not safe mathematically from all of those sides this time next week, there is something wrong, surely.
Well, if we're not safe this week, it'll be the week after. It's just simple as that in my book. I can't see us having a problem because I can't see the 4 teams that will finish bottom 4 actually winning all their remaining games. Whether Mansfield Town do or not, I can't see that happening, Craig. So, I presume that we're safe enough now. But like you say, let's get mathematically safe and then we can move on, and play the rest of the season out.
It has to be mathematically safe, Emily. Nothing else matters because so many times we could rest on our laurels and say, yeah, we're safe or whatever.
Yeah.
And take our foot off the gas, our eye off the board, and all of a sudden a footballing miracle could happen.
Yeah, we can't do that. No, absolutely not. And I'm probably a bit of a pessimist, so I'm waiting until we're mathematically safe, and then I'll be really happy. So, yeah, I keep being told we're not going down there. We're not going down. It'll be fine, Mum. We're not going down.
There is something. There would be something like catastrophe style wrong, Clive, if we were to fall through the trapdoor at this point. We're 12th in the league. We've got the best goal difference of the bottom half of the table. We're 7 points clear at the moment of the bottom 4 in Exeter, and a considerable points gap clear of those beneath them as well. But as we've seen all season, the league is still ridiculously tight. Anything could happen. And had we had a bad Easter weekend, we could still be well in the fire. As it is, we've managed to extinguish, a little bit like Actifire, a little bit of the flames.
The 4 points over Easter were incredibly valuable. No question about that. And in previous years, we've always done very badly at Easter. So it's nice to see a different outcome. The teams behind us are not going to win all their games, and we're not going to lose all our games. So it's a question of a swing of probably one game, no more than that. And bear in mind, we've got a better goal difference than anybody else in the game, in the fight. So That's another point. So in effect, we're probably 4 games safe if the others continue their trajectory and we continue ours. Now, we can't guarantee either of those things happening, but it would take a monumental change around for us to swap places with the teams that we would have to swap places with for us to get relegated.
Yeah, it certainly would. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. We've got a relative of yours, haven't we, Emily? That's just popped up in the comments.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's my dad. And it's all his fault that I support Stags. So
do you want to read out what Daddy has said? Do we call him Daddy or Papa or Pa or
Dad. Or Grandad, depending on whether you're me or my kids. The Stags are safe, he says. Actual safety based upon probabilities is achieved long before mathematical safety. 3 teams are down and Mansfield are very, very unlikely to be the 4th, even if we have a bad run.
Now, I've never met your dad. And I
like him. I like him a lot.
I think you would like him, Clive. I think you would.
I don't want to cause.
Get him on the show.
I don't want to cause friction, but I'm going to say this: probability is a load of.
Well, I'm the same. I like safety.
Unless you work at Ladbrokes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not a betting person.
It's quite important if you work there, aren't they? All the betting shops are available.
Actual maths, actual security is better than probability. That's like saying, I'm going to leave my back door unlocked tonight, and it's probably unlikely that someone's going to break in and murder me. Let's play it safe and lock the thing. Yeah.
Well, Dad's he's quite optimistic usually around Stags. A lot more than I am. I'm the worst in our family.
What's his name? Emily, what's his name?
Edward Wilson.
Edward, you'll do for me, son. Get on the show.
Yeah.
Listen.
And Craig's back door's open tonight as well.
Around one evening, we could both be here.
Yeah.
I think you'll find, Nick, it's triple locked because I don't want to get murdered in my sleep because I like to play it safe. I've just made a reference. I've compared footballing safety to getting murdered in your sleep. This is the direction this podcast is going tonight. So there you go. Shall we move on, shall we, and do podcast predictions from the bank holiday weekend? Yes, Craig, I think we should. Thank you, voice inside Craig's head. You keep saying that until you find the jingle. I will. Don't you worry, Craig. I will. I think I've found the jingle. Have you, Craig? That's good. Am I going insane, Craig? Yes, I think I am.
The game of the luck, who gives up, don't mess it up. I hear you say, how do you play? Win, lose or draw, then pick a score and one more thing. Pick a hero, don't score 0, that's the game. But we're not fools, but this game has rules. It gets on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. Remember the rhyme. Yes, on time, you'll be fine. Remember the rhyme. The death predictions.
Right, it's results time from podcast predictions, and it was, of course, a double pointer bank holiday weekend. If you've not seen the results on social media from the Doncaster game, let's quickly give you those. 10 people predicted a 2-0 win, which are on double points week. But the person who chose the top performing player in George Abbott was Shirebrook Stags, who netted 54 points on Friday. Let's go to Monday then, shall we? And let's annoy Clive, which is my favourite thing to do, because only one person correctly predicted a 0-0 draw in Clive, but because it was double points, got minus 10 points for selecting Ryan Sweeney as his fancy player. And Ben, the podcast predictions guru, has generally written in his note to me, Clive, in brackets, cue Clive to moan about the fancy points element. So this week's winner, with 26 points, was Alan Wilson.
Crikey.
So Clive robbed himself of victory thanks to his mate Alan. Also, Clive, I've got to say, you weren't alone in getting minus 10 points for selecting a player, because 7 others got minus 10 for either selecting Sweeney or Liam Roberts. The overall table looks like this at the moment. In 5th place, it's Olivia Wilson with 368. I'm in 4th with 380. Matt Piercy has dropped to 3rd with 383. Some consolation. Although it's not really, though, is it? Because if he'd have not lost 10 points, he might have been higher. Clive Parkin is in 2nd place overall with 394 points. And leading the way at the top is Chris Vincent with 422 points. If you want to play along with podcast predictions, you can do so via the link in the description. And of course, we have to move our attention to the next game, which is, of course, a trip to Wigan. We're going to do it in this order then for our podcast predictions. We are going to go for Nick, Clive, Alan, and then Emily. So, podcast predictions time for Wigan away, please. Nick first.
1-1 draw. Evans.
Clive.
Wigwam 0, Stags 1.
So we're going to win
Dave.
1-0, yeah? You always
Yes.
mess my system up when you do it that way. Dave. Alan.
2-1 win. Reese Oates.
Or Emily.
2-1 win. I'm going Will Evans.
Oh, good choice. I am
He
going to
scored an
go...
absolute corker there last year.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
I am going to go for a 3-1 win, and I am going to go for George Abbott for my player. Let's go the opposite way round then for Leighton Orient. I am going to go for a 1-1 draw, and I'm going to go for Dave. Emily.
I'm going to go a 1-0 win for Stags. I just got a feeling. And I'm going to go with Fraser Blake Tracy.
Alan.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Will Evans.
Clive.
Orient 0, Stags 0.
No
Roberts.
draw. No
Liam
draw.
Roberts, yes.
Nick.
0-0 Dave.
No, Dave. Love it. Speaking of Dave, it's story time with Alan Wilson now. If you want to play along with podcast predictions, by the way, link description. Don't pick the same player twice. 90 minutes before kickoff. Alan, story time, because this week it was the sponsors' dinner hosted by our very own Alan Wilson.
Yes, it was very nice, Craig. Thoroughly enjoyable afternoon. And then towards the end, when the players were doing all the signings and everything had been sorted, I saw Dave come over, and I shouted to him, I said, "Can I have my photo taken, Dave?" And he's just started laughing. He said, "Of course you can." He took it all in good heart.
I love that he's adopted Dave with his own nickname now, because Clive, you before Doncaster, we watched the players coming off the bus and you went, "Come on, Dave," and he turned around and smiled at you.
He did. He thinks they're all lunatics, of course.
And I had my photo took with Giorgio Mauricio as well. And it says, "Well, I hadn't heard that name for a while." I said, "Well, to be fair, you haven't played, have you, Georgie?" He said, "But I'm hoping to get some games before the end of the season. He's fully fit now."
Well, fingers crossed that
Good
he
news.
does. Quick story about you sharing a sausage with Nigel Clough.
It didn't share a sausage with Nigel Clough at all. I went to the barbecue and I had a burger, and the biggest sausages you can imagine. They were ginormous, and a nice bit of salad with some coleslaw. Excellent buffet.
But you did share something with Nigel Clough, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the interview with Nigel, and then he said, after I'd said one of the questions about the Arsenal game being very historic, and I think did Nigel, in his opinion, think it was part from that that we're carried on with this good run? He says, "Well, hopefully," he says, "when we do the the totting up of all the money that we've made, we might be able to afford 2 microphones because we're having to share 1 microphone in the tent, the marquee." So you never know, we might get 2 next year.
You never know. That's where the Arsenal money is going to get spent. Speaking of spending money and improving collections and things like that, let's have Nick's shirts story, shall we? Because Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame, who has an excellent website referencing all things shirts of the past, which is the website which goes
www.mansfieldtownshirts.co.uk. Something.
Click on that.
.co.uk. Yeah,
find it. You'll see lots of stuff on there. You've added to your collection, I do believe.
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't added a lot of shirts recently because I kind of got to the point. In all honesty, it got boring when everyone could buy them. I got a bit bored. You know, when they started doing the auctions, I was like, oh, it's not fun anymore. Everyone can buy one. And then I thought, oh, I'll get one of the Arsenal ones. And then they were like 200 quid. And I was like, even I'm not stupid enough to pay that. So I didn't. But a friend of mine, a dear friend and colleague of the show here, won a competition. And that competition was to buy a shirt that somebody had asked me before they auctioned it as to whether I wanted it or not. And I put an offer and they said, no, that's not enough. I want more than that. So then, you know, karma and the world comes back. And I ended up with that shirt because my good Mr. Clive Parkin won the 1976-77 match-worn shirt, won by Ernie Moss. I believe in the winning game against Wrexham. You can see the mud on the bottom, look.
Yeah.
And my good friend Clive won it. And you know, he said, would I like to purchase it off him, which I did, very kindly of him to offer. And yeah, it's the oldest shirt I've got, and it's the oldest Stag shirt that I'm aware of. Match worn, anyway. You can see the stitched on numbers there. That's a proper shirt, isn't it? Nice old badge look. We like that.
It was a good game, that wasn't it?
And yes, my dad was very excited about it. It was the last game of the season, wasn't it? They won 1-0 to get promoted, and I think Ernie Moss scored the winner. And I believe, according to my my records and my dad's books, that he won number 8 that day. So that is that's about as good a shirt as you're going to get. So thank you to Clive for passing that in my direction and using his.
I think I've undercharged you, Nick.
Yeah, we established that on the day, I think. we established that.
Let's not go into that. We don't need the business transactions, do we? We don't need to know how many curly whirlies you exchange for that. That's absolutely fine.
No, there was sausages involved and everything. It was all.
Yeah, I'm sure they will do. I don't want to pile work on your shoulders, Nick, but I presume there's a YouTube video at some point or a TikTok-y thing coming out about it. I
probably should do. I haven't. You know what? I haven't done one for ages. I had a message off YouTube saying, "Are you sure? Do you want to still be part of the partner program because you haven't uploaded in so many months?" So I need to probably do something at some point. Yeah.
I liked it when you ranked mascots from League One.
Oh, the amount of stick
Brilliant.
from that was. Oh, I was getting messages for months about that. I didn't know that Lofty the Lion at Bolton wasn't called Lofty because he was tall. He was called Lofty because about Nat Lofthouse. He was playing way before I just thought he was tall. You know, Lofty, he's big.
I told you about the
the Bolton fans. The amount of messages I had from Bolton fans going, "Do you not know anything about football?" I was like, well, if it doesn't involve Alistair Asher, and if it didn't happen after 1999 or Steve Whitehall, I'm not interested.
And you want to know why Mansfield Matters has never done any of this shit, right? That's exactly why.
That's why.
That is exactly why. That's why we stay in our lane.
Then I ranked grounds, and people were saying, "Oh, but the toilets at Mansfield," and I'm like, "Oh God."
The toilets were really bad. The women's were blocked again in Quarry Lane at the weekend. So I really hope some of that increase in season ticket prices going on the toilets, please.
Well, ask the 2 fan advisory board potential members to.
Well, we're not on it yet.
Manifesto. Manifesto.
We will get it on there for you. What
whoever succeeds
triple play.
Whoever succeeds
as long as they flush. Just
fair enough.
Flush.
I'm sorry, Emily, to be talking over you, but whoever succeeds in getting on this fan advisory board, the matter of toilets is bound to crop up.
Oh yeah, it'd be number 1 issue, and that's why I'm not applying for it.
I'm more than happy to talk about it as long as we. I'm more than happy to talk about it as long as we stay talking about number 1s. I do not want to get involved in anything to do with number 2s. Speaking of number 2s, Alan, we've had a question come in from Steve. What a segue that is. Why at Mansfield do they always announce the away team first?
It's just something I've always done. I don't know whether it's
all teams
right
do it,
or
don't
wrong. Pardon?
All the teams do that because all teams do it, don't they? Because they announce the away team in a monotone voice and they get all excited about the home team. You don't want to end on the away team, do you?
Well, no, exactly. It's building
that's
up,
why they do it, isn't it? Yeah.
I should imagine. So it's something I've always done, but There you go.
There you go. Speaking of something you've always done, Alan, I've got a question for you.
Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where's you been? Alan, where is your bin?
Yes, it's that time of the show for Alan, where's you been? Alan Wilson has been taking his fictional rubbish bin around the grounds of the United Kingdom and beyond, and we've got to guess where he's been this week. He's got 5 clues for us. If we get it after the first clue, it's 5 points, and then 4 and 3, and so on and so on. You know how it works by now. I've got 12 points on the board. Clive has got 10, Nick has got 4, Jim has got 2, Nathan and Cam yet to score. Emily, as you're the guest on the show this week, usually you play for Nick's points, but Nick is here. So who are you playing for this week?
Cam.
Why?
Ah, it's rubbish.
Why?
Very helpful on the Her Game 2 day. He was really helpful. Don't be
Why are
mean.
you helping that idiot
He must
out?
have thought there was in it. He must have
Let's
thought there was
be
something.
fair.
Must have
I
done.
never get any points, so it's not exactly an advantage, is it?
Well, you could
Right.
do
Why am
today,
I still
Emily.
only on 4? If you've been playing with me, or people have been playing for me, how am I still on 4? Who's been playing for me?
Emily.
Yeah. I did get you 4 points last season, I think.
Yeah.
Well, can we add them
Anyway,
on?
Alan Wilson, over to you.
Right.
This is the first of 3 games. Alan, it's over to you. Remember, after the third question, we'll have the quick thinking break as well. So let me get that lined up and ready so I can just click it. Alan, it is over to you, my friend.
Question 1. This ground was made up brand new in 1997 and it holds 33,597. They went from the old ground to this new ground in 1997 and it holds 33,597. We'll go with Emily, Nick, Clive, Craig.
Go me first.
Just
I don't know
guess.
what the name of the stadium is, but I'm thinking MK Dons Stadium. But
Yeah, you just need the team, not the stadium. But yeah.
yeah, you're right, MK Dons then.
Nick,
Middlesbrough.
Clive,
Stadium MK.
Craig.
Derby County.
5 points to Craig.
It's in there.
That is
Wow.
unbelievable.
What a guess. I don't know
Wow.
why I guessed with that I went for Derby. I just had a feeling it was around the 90s that they moved there. The figure was in my head, of course. I maybe had a slight disadvantage that I used to work at their community trust and I can remember vague things from their
Wow.
stadium tour. But I knew it wasn't MK Dons. I was a little bit worried when 2 people said MK Dons because
Yeah,
surely that 97 was too early for them. Anyway,
that's
Before-
unreal.
can we have the 4 remaining clues,
Ridiculous.
please?
Yes. Yes. The second question was they reached the European Cup semi-final in 1973.
Derby
Derby
County.
County. I got there, beat you. I got there first. 4 points. Thank you very much.
But there is a little caveat to the third question. I was going to put another one in, so we can still do this, Craig. We can still have the gap in between when you guess this, because I mean the anagram would have been rapid, kip, must, dare.
And what's the answer to the
It's
anagram?
obviously Pride Park
Pride
Stadium.
Park.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the caveat.
Oh,
to
never have
this-
got that in a million years.
You can't go adding stadium in. It's just not right. You're
Well,
making
I
an
would
impossible
never
task
have
even
got that in
more
a
so.
That's
million
what it's
years.
called. But anyway, if you want to have a go at this with the
Well,
break,
We
Craig,
won't, and you'll find out why in a minute. But
Oh,
read
right.
out the anagram anyway.
No, we've done the anagram. Can
What's
you
the
give
caveat?
me a well-known sport with 4 letters that begins with T?
Yeah. 2 lit. No, I don't know. What would the answer be?
Just a minute. Can you give me a well-known sport with 4 letters that starts with T?
Well known.
Yes.
Tennis.
That's
4
not
letters.
How are you spelling tennis?
It starts with a T. 4 letters.
It's not. No. Go on. What's the answer? Because I've got to fit in two more games. Go on. What's the answer?
Golf.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah. What relevance is that?
God.
Right, that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
The other 2 clues were
Bloody hell.
the Rams, and the 5th one, Nigel's dad used to manage them. But well
Well,
done.
Golf got to do with
I'd have got
Derby
half
County,
the
by the way. What's
Have you got it by then?
golf?
5.
Oh,
That's quality.
dear, oh dear. Well, I will add them to my score. Now, there's a reason that I didn't play along with that little 2-minute counter, because when I asked Emily to be on the podcast this week, she said, "Yeah, I'll do it, but only if I don't have to take part in a quiz." Well, you have to take part in Alan Where's You Been, because it's law. So I said, all right then, why don't you do one? She went, all right, but you got to make me a jingle. So I said, all right. Unofficially endorsed by Uncle Stephen. Emily, what's all this about then?
I love the way you make up these stories. That's not what happened, but okay. Yeah, no, I have got a game for you. So that's called Oz One Out, because you probably don't know my surname's Osborne. Thank you for that jingle, Craig. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's going to make me laugh for weeks to come. So there you go. Okay, so the game. Do you want me to explain the game, or are you going to explain the game, Craig?
Well, I don't know what the game is. I just made a jingle, so...
Okay, so the game is that I'm going to give you a starting 11, and I'm going to give you who we were playing and what date it was. And one of the players is going to be the odd one out. So one of the players is not in the starting 11. Okay.
Starting 11 for what?
Mansfield.
A match.
Derby County.
We've all got this.
Derby County. Yeah.
Life's 2 weeks behind. We've got this.
Yeah.
Go on.
Okay. Well, shall we make a
Crack on.
start? We want to get through them, don't
So
we?
just for clarity, I'll run through it again. Emily's going to read out a starting 11 and give us the game that starting 11 was from. However, she's going to switch one of those players for someone else, and we've got to figure out who. We've got to figure out this. Oz one out. Unofficially endorsed by Uncle Stephen.
If it's David Tennant, I'm going to get this, I reckon.
Emily, go on. Over to you.
Okay, so the first game was a game against Bristol Rovers at home on 17th of October 2015. It was a bit of a bonkers game, 3 red cards, and we lost 2-1. Well, 1-2, because it was at home.
No, 2-1. We lost 2-1. It's always the higher number first.
Yeah, I know.
You don't lose 1-2, do you?
No, you don't.
You don't lose 1-2. You lose 2-1.
It's right. I always say it that way as well, but sometimes that's how it comes up. So here's my starting 11. Okay, and if you want first names, you can have them, because I have got the first names as well.
Elton John.
Emily, can I just apologise in advance, because the whole decade of the teens has disappeared from my memory completely, and you'll find this happens as you get older. Ask me something about.
He's trying to work out who Bristol Rovers are.
Ask me something about 1973. I'm your man.
I can never do any of these. Don't worry about it.
Just carry on, Emily.
I will do. Thank you, Alan. Always the gentleman, aren't you, Alan? Right.
That's right.
So this is Bristol Rovers at home, 17th of October 2015. I thought you might remember it because it was a crazy game. So Jensen, Hunt, Pearce, Taffazolli. Yeah, you remember these? Benning, Hamilton, Chapman, Thomas, Westcar, Green, and Lamb.
So we've got to guess which one of those is wrong.
Yeah, but don't we have to do what we're going to do with the order?
You just choose. You tell us which way round you want it. We'll all say the name, and then if we get it, we all get points.
Well, we'll go on the board. So Alan, Clive, then Craig, then Nick.
Westcar.
Chapman.
Lamb.
Beef. No, sorry, I was thinking of something else. Well, sorry, I thought we were doing a dinner order for tonight. Sorry, I was reading the menu.
Can I have 5 ounce of Westcar, please? Cheers. Side order of Taffazoli.
Clive wants a Chapman. I might also. I do fancy a side portion of Westcar with Alan.
Right. Okay. Well, you are all wrong.
Oh, great.
Oh,
No points.
Of course we are.
I like
Of
this.
course we are.
I like this quiz.
The odd one out was CJ Hamilton. He didn't join Mansfield until 2016.
good one.
So we're teetering on a good game here, Emily. So can we take this backwards now? Because otherwise I'm out of a job.
All right, okay.
Round number 2, please.
Lineup number 2 was against Altrincham at home on the
Bloody Laura.
25th of April 2009.
1863.
We won 2-0.
I was still at school.
What, the caretaker?
I was breaking in.
I wasn't at school. I'm not sure how you were at school. Okay.
He worked there.
We won
Stop
2-0.
living.
The attendance was 1,682.
God bless you.
Because it was very low. Okay, so this is the lineup. White, O'Hare, Sutton, Naylor, Silk, Williams, Shaw, Hotchkiss, Arnold, O'Connor, and Duffy. So go backwards this time. So we go Nick, Craig, Clive, Alan.
That's a tough one.
No, it's not.
Well, it is.
I like it.
You were commenting. You know exactly what the answer is. I don't know
do.
what the answer is. I'm going to go Duffy.
Let Alan and Clive go because I'm quite confident that I know the answer.
Sutton.
That's nice of you. Then the one little chance I got of getting this right was to follow you on this occasion, and you've changed the bloody running order.
I'll go Sutton.
Williams.
The correct answer is Richie Sutton.
It is.
Richie
Yeah.
Sutton didn't join us until Paul Cox was in charge, which was 2 seasons later.
2011, yeah, when he made 136 appearances for the Stags before leaving to join Tranmere in 2015.
Still remains
One of
a
your-
very beautiful man.
One of your favourite players, Craig.
He was, yeah. As soon as you said
Yeah.
Sutton in the lineup, I knew that was the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this the third and final?
Been Scott Garner, by the way.
Ah, there you go.
That's
Is this the
Great player.
third and final one?
Yeah. So this is Stags starting lineup against Newcastle United in the FA Cup third round on the 7th of January 2006. Yeah.
Do you remember that one, Clive?
See there? See there? The attendance was 41,459. Newcastle won 1-0 and Alan
Shearer.
scored the only goal.
Great goal.
Right. Okay. So here's my. I reckon you'll get this, but here's my lineup. Okay. So Pressman, Russell, Uhlenbeek, Asamoah, Jellyman, Day, Rundle, Baptiste, Buxton, Dawson, and Coke. So the order will go in. We'll start with Clive this time.
Rundle.
Alan,
Reece Day.
Craig,
Derek
Bless you.
Asamoah.
and Nick.
Derek Asamoah. I thought he'd left.
Well, both Nick and Craig are
Well
correct.
done. Well done, you two.
Derek Asamoah left Mansfield in 2005 for Lincoln City after making 30 appearances for the Stags in the previous season.
There you go. Well, that was a very successful edition of Oz One Out. Unofficially endorsed by Uncle Stephen. Right, that is almost what we've got time for tonight. A very good game, by the way, Emily. You need to take more credit for that. You know that you came up with that.
Very good
Originally,
game.
you wanted to do something on screen, didn't you?
Yeah, and I couldn't do that. So we compromised, didn't we?
It's not that you couldn't. It's just that it has to work for an audio medium as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, I liked that. I liked the lineup game. I think we'll have to play another round of that. And
Yeah.
and of course, now that it's made an appearance on the podcast, it will be in for an award because once we reach safety, we'll do our nominations for the end of season awards. And the podcast always gets a section. And in there is best game. I think it was won by What's in Craig's Bucket last year. I tell you what, it's not going to be won by, and that.
Email guest.
There you go. I'll tell you what it's not going to be won by. It's not going to be won by the final quickfire round of What's Different, which is a completely different title to what was at the start of the show, but I can't remember what I said at the start of the show. So I need you, the four of you on the show, you've had an hour and 20 minutes looking at the screen. I need you to say what's different about me, Nick.
What's different about you? What? Since when? The start of the show?
The last podcast, start of the show, whatever you want to go with. I'm going to go with the last podcast or the last time you saw me. Something's different.
Have you got different headphones on?
Emily.
I thought headphones too, but I'm going for glasses just to be different.
Clive.
It's like he's looking through a keyhole.
Headphones.
Alan.
After all that.
Microphone cover.
Muff.
One of you is correct. Three of you are wrong.
Isn't it? It's the bloody
The
glasses.
correct answer is indeed the bloody glasses. Yes, I've got
Well
news
done,
for you.
Emily.
5
well done.
points.
Well done.
Well, I'm the
Many points.
Oz one out, aren't I, as well? I'm the only one not wearing glasses. I'm the Oz one out.
You are the
Yeah.
odd one out.
I'll get
Yeah.
some. I can get some.
You are.
I mean,
Good.
I'll get some.
Amazing.
I think we should. You know, Mansfield Matters sponsored by Specsavers. Listen,
Yeah.
Well, we're
I'm
not a good
more-
sponsor because Clive had to get very close, so I'm not
I
sure.
mean,
it's
he
massive.
did he? To be fair. By the way, I'm just going to say fair play to Colette in the comments who did get the correct answer.
Yeah.
So well done, Colette. Yes. What is this? Asked someone a YouTube comment. This is the Mansfield Matters podcast. If it's the first time that you've watched it, it's an experience the last 10 minutes of the show because basically we give up talking about football and just like to have a laugh. That's what it's all about. It's not always about talking about the ins and outs because otherwise we'd be done in 10 minutes. And
I expect better
a bit of a
from
laugh.
someone with the name Lame Duck 3630. I expect better.
Yeah, to be honest, Nick,
3628 was great by comparison.
Oh,
Yeah.
what are you cracking fella? Oh,
He just, I mean, he set new standards, that bloke.
yeah,
Lame duck,
exactly.
yes.
To be honest, it's been an absolutely quacking show, and we should end with one final question. It comes from John, who says, so are we going to start with a strong front one at Wigan or go negative like Bolton? Does it really matter as long as we get 3 points? I think the bigger question is a yes or no answer. Are we finally going to see JB1 Alan Wilson?
No.
Clive Parkin?
No.
Emily Osborne?
No.
Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame?
No.
Well, Dave has been asked
Yeah.
how he would feel about going in goal for to deputise as the goalkeeper, and he had this to say.
I'm pretty calm, to be fair.
Can't argue
He's
with
pretty
that.
calm about everything, isn't he?
Well, that's all we've got time for on this week's Mansfield Matters podcast. My thanks, as ever, to the Mansfield Matters podcast panel for joining me, and of course, more importantly, you guys at home for watching and for listening. A reminder, if you want to play along with podcast predictions, the link that you need is in the description. And of course, it's a double game week. So we're predicting Wigan and Leyton Orient. Join us next Thursday at 7:30 p.m. to have your say on your team, where the Stags could well have secured League One safety for another season. A reminder, by the way, that if you are playing along with podcast predictions, you must submit your guesses no later than 90 minutes before kick-off, and you can't pick the same player twice. Right, I'm off to put my feet up, get the abacus out, and make sure that Craig Maths is actually true. And we'll see you next week on the show for the fans, by the fans. Good night.
Protect what matters most with Actifire Limited.
Your trusted local fire safety experts in Nottinghamshire. Proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters Podcast. From fire extinguishers and alarms to emergency lighting, pat testing and risk assessments, they've got everything you need for your business to stay safe. Affordable, reliable, professional. Because when it comes to fire protection, there's no room for compromise. Call Actifire Limited today or visit actifire.co.uk. Be ready, be safe, act now. Actifire Limited, proud sponsors of the Mansfield Matters Podcast.